I'm so proud of our next guest.
Yeah.
Look, man, for years, Kokandy Productions has been knocking it out of the park with hit after hit as a major force in the Chicago theater scene. Right now, they are presenting Hair, which I know you saw
I did last week. Saturday. Yeah.
There we go. Next month, they're putting up just a little teeny tiny show, Sunday in the Park with George. And then the following month, they remount their award-winning production of Jekyll and Hyde with Broadway in Chicago. And joining us now is producing artistic director Derek von Barham. Derek, welcome to the show and congratulations.
Thank you so much, friends.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for having me.
Look, I believe I sent you a message the moment I received the Broadway in Chicago press release that like Kokandy will be at Broadway in Chicago. This is such an exciting time for you. Congratulations. Can you remind people a little bit about the mission and the history of Kokandy?
Oh, sure. And also just like, thank you, Scott, for always being a champion for Kokandy and for me specifically as an artist in Chicago. I feel like the first shows I ever directed, like you were always kind of one of the first people to reach out to offer support. So just thank you both for just continuing to do that.
That's what
Coming
we do.
your way because you are. Oh yes, yes. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm blithering.
Yeah. So Kokandy Productions. We are a non-equity storefront musical theater company in Chicago, and somehow we have found ourselves with a Broadway in Chicago engagement at the Broadway Playhouse.
I know.
For Jekyll and Hyde. But yeah, when you list it all out like that, I think it accurately points out what a wonderful year we're having. Hair is currently running, sold out all this weekend. You know, the hippies have taken over the main stage at the Chopin. We'll have a little pointillistic painting going on in the basement in just a couple of weeks. And then right on top of that, Jekyll and Hyde reopening this September at the Broadway Playhouse. So lots of things, but could not be more thrilled.
I know, man. You've got to be pooped.
You know.
No, but as we said, Ellen and Kathy went to the opening night of Hair.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm a big fan. In my office, I have the framed original soundtrack album in a frame. That's how much I love the album. It came at a time of when I was about 12 years old, and it was just such a life-altering play for me. And seeing it again, I had to see it. I mean, I had to hold back from singing, but I sang a little.
Right? Oh, I know.
People do sing along.
Don't hold back. We fully embrace. I mean, it's been so just heartening to see what an important show it is for so many people. I mean, all the way back, our first preview, one of the original cast members from the original Broadway production sent the cast an email message just to say like, hey, like calling from 1968. Thank you so much for doing this. Keep spreading the love.
What?
It's such a community inspiring piece.
Well, it's a tribal love rock musical.
And Derek, did I count like 17 cast members, something like that?
Yes, the biggest cast we've had probably. I mean, since I've been artistic director.
It's unbelievable to direct all of them and have them, and they were all so talented. And I mentioned earlier in the show, bringing the issue of trans rights into it brings it, more up to date with what's, going on today. The bringing up ICE is also in there. I love that the relevance was there and people could see that some things have not changed that much, sadly, in the last 50 years.
I mean, the cast was such a huge part of this collaboration, and our director for the show, Brennan Irby, and Kara Olander, our music director, I think really encouraged everybody to bring their own things to the table in terms of, without changing a word of the script, but just like providing that visual reminder that this show is still as relevant today as it ever has been. And almost kind of like I mean, there's a trail of protest and pain and hope and love from
Hmm.
the creation of this show all the way to today. And I
Yeah.
think one of the things the team did was try to capture all of that. So it's not just protect the dolls and out with ICE, but it's also, slogans from the Iraq War, slogans that you
Yeah.
would have seen on signs in the 80s and the 90s, silence equals death,
Yes.
like basically this tapestry of protest that has been in our country since the inception of this show, just like being reminded that this production is one of many that has happened since then. And yeah, and it still
Hmm.
matters.
It
Yeah.
does.
And the audience gets to be part of it. I
So,
mean, we encourage the audience to write on the set and add their own thoughts during intermission.
yeah, the
So like,
markers. Yeah, I
yeah.
wrote some stuff. Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, look, I did the show between my senior year of high school and college in St. Louis outdoors in a
Perfect
sculpture
time.
park. It was brilliant, and it really it's one of those things that those shows that just like stays with you, and the movie's fabulous, but like your Kokandy's production that's at the Chopin Theater right now has just been like getting rave reviews. So exciting. And while this is happening, you are I'm assuming you're in rehearsals right now
Yes.
for Sunday in the Park with George. Some people might not be as familiar with that show. Can you tell a little bit about that one? It's one of my faves.
Oh, same. Yeah. So this is one of I think oftentimes people's like favorite Sondheim musical, specifically like really musical theater folk. It's just such a universal story about creation and what it means to make art and the sacrifices we make to aspire to be great artists. Act one takes place over a century ago with George Seurat and sort of his development of the pointillism technique. It's sort of centered around the famous painting that's hanging in the Art Institute, Le Grand Jatte, that you can go see at the Art Institute, which several of us in the production have done. But Act One's kind of about the creation of that painting and specifically his relationship with his muse Dot. And then Act Two jumps to what was the 1980s, but for our production feels more important to just kind of represent like classic versus contemporary. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how rooted ours will be in the 80s, but something certainly more modern with a descendant of his in a gallery exhibiting a new work and just kind of how the networking aspect of art creating and the commercialism has kind of taken over. So it really asks a lot of questions about why we create art, the things we have to do to create art in terms of, certainly you all know, the networking these days is as important and who is as important as the stuff that you're creating in terms of getting it out to a wider audience. But for theater artists, I think it's just such a beloved piece because it's just got such beautiful music and such clever lyric writing
Mm-hmm.
about what it is to be an artist in any period and how much of ourselves we give to our art and because of that, how much we're giving up in other areas of our lives.
Derek, have you learned? Stephen Sondheim obviously has a remarkable way of exploring emotions in a complex way. What have you learned as a director from Sondheim's material?
Oh, God, it's just so good.
Well, that counts. That counts. That was your answer.
I mean, this is getting into like Kokandy philosophy a little bit. I feel like with some of our programming, we have a rep of like trying to fix broken musicals. That's other people's language, not mine. But like an Amelie or an American Psycho or even a Jekyll and Hyde. Like
Yeah.
shows that to some people might have great songs but not be super successful or they never belonged on a Broadway stage so they fit so much better in a basement at the Chopin. Like we do a little bit of that, but once every 2 years I'm like, I want a script that all I need to do is not mess it up.
Right.
and with Sweeney and Into the Woods and now with Sunday, the first thing I say to the cast is like, look, I've got some ideas. I've got some stuff I want to try, but I am reminded that all I have to do is get out of the way and let this music sing and this writing soar and your performances be supported. And and we're golden.
That's a great approach. It's a perfect approach.
Well, yeah, and you're gonna make a
summer.
hat where there never was a hat.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
Yeah, it is. I'm very curious because you're going to have both shows running at the same time. You're just taking over the Chopin. It's going to be now the Kokandy Theatrical Arts Performance Center. I'm very curious to see, because it's going to be in such an intimate staging of it, because that's going to be in the smaller space. What are the challenges that you've been discovering as you're like going through? I mean, fortunately, again, you're like, I'm just going to let the music do the thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, part of it, and one of the reasons Nick Sula, who has also music directed Sweeney and Into the Woods, also did Jekyll. But specifically, when we come back to these Sondheims, something he and I kind of talk about from the outset is how can these challenges be opportunities, right? So for these shows that do have this glorious lyric writing and this wonderful music, how can we use the intimacy to our advantage? So, this is going to kind of be alley style, really close to the performers. Evelyn Ryan is doing some incredible orchestral reductions for us to kind of have this really like chamber piece sort of vibe to it. We'll seat about 100 people down there, but really like no audience member is ever further than what, like 10 feet away from the performance.
Yeah.
And really just kind of, I think kind of one of my guiding concepts for this show is what's in focus and what's out of focus, because so much with pointillism and really any art, like what are we choosing to put in the frame? And so our playing space, we're trying to honor the dimensions of the painting. The majority of Act 1 takes place on a 10x6 platform, which is the scale of the painting that's hanging at the Art Institute. So really kind of like telling the audience, both visually and then with the way we're staging it, like this is what Seurat was focused on at the time. Like when things come into focus and into his point of view and he becomes inspired to paint them, we really kind of focus it in on putting it literally and metaphorically in the frame, so that Act 2, when that sort of disappears, we really utilize the whole space. Because the other thing about the show, and it draws both criticism, favorable and unfavorable alike, is that Act 1 and Act 2 are totally different.
Totally different.
So like we've really embraced, then the audience experience should be different. Like the way we're using the space, it should feel like we're somewhere else. It's two parts of the same show, but they are as different as any show offers. So I think the way we're using the space in each act will also be really fun for the audience to experience.
Sounds like it.
Well, I'm sure it will. I mean, again, because it's Kokandy.
Yeah.
And it's you.
You know what you're doing.
And it's you. You know a thing or two about a musicale. So that's going to start on August 13th. And then right after that, on September 8th, is when Jekyll and Hyde is being remounted for Broadway in Chicago. This was a huge hit for you guys.
It was. It was a big risk in many ways. It was our first show going upstairs to the Chopin, which, like I do think we've gotten so good at doing what we do down in the basement, and again using those challenges as opportunities to get really, really creative. And so, to go upstairs, to go to kind of a proscenium style, which is something we don't often do. Even Hair, our second show up there, we're like, nah, we did proscenium once up here. Let's do something different.
Something different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more immersive in the round, similar to what we do downstairs. But with that comes bigger design. There was also kind of out of the gate this, if we're doing Jekyll and Hyde, which for so many people, especially people who love it, has only been available as a cast recording for like the last 20 years, because it doesn't get produced that often. So, we're doing the full orchestration, full 15-person orchestra. There's not an instrument that has been orchestrated that we do not have on that stage.
Wow.
And so you really
That's a
get
lot.
the full breadth of this just huge bombastic Gothic score, because that's why people love it. And that's also why it's so hard to produce. And for us, there was a moment where it was like, oh, do we figure out what our stripped down basement, intimate, acoustic version is? And it's like, no, let's go for it.
Wow.
And I'm so glad that we did, because watching people experience it, even from first previews, what the vocalists are doing, what Nick Sula has done with our orchestra. It was like watching people at a rock concert, like getting to see a band that they loved but had not gotten to see in concert for 20 plus years. So to just like see people experience it and sing along and just openly weep when some of those bangers hit was just incredible. I would just sit to the side and watch the audience watch the show. It was pretty phenomenal.
Again, this is like what a gift to Chicago is Kokandy Productions.
Yeah, they sure are. Wow.
Yeah, for real, my friend. You you have been knocking them out of the park for years, and I am so proud of all of the hard work because it's not easy what you're doing. And you know, I hate that I keep quoting Rent. But I quote it all the time now because the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. And thank you for all of these offerings that are so thoughtful that you are giving as a gift to Chicago audiences. So just a reminder, there's a lot going on with Kokandy Productions right now.
God,
you can go see Hair, that's now playing through September 13th at the Chopin Theater upstairs. If you get a little sleepy, you can go downstairs to the smaller one. See, Sunday in the Park was George, which starts August 13th at the Chopin Theater. And then Jekyll and Hyde, the award-winning production that Kokandy did. It starts performances September 8th at the Broadway in Chicago's Broadway Playhouse at Water Tower Place. To find out more information about this organization, that again, you all are becoming a major force within the Chicago theater community, and we are all better for it. Go to kokandyproductions.com to find out all information here. Derek Von Barham, thank you so much.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care.